Morning, everyone. It's an honor to welcome you today for our presentation, Meet the Early Years Leadership Team. And I have with me today Ms. Soné Duplessis, the Deputy Head of Early Years, and Ms. Anne-Marie Stekelum, the PYP Coordinators for Early Years. I had hoped that this year we would do this presentation live with you in the room, but obviously it's still not possible. But maybe later on during the year, we can meet all together in that beautiful auditorium of SISD. So today we wanted to meet with you to speak a little bit about the early years and how we work. And this is why we created that presentation. If you don't hear me or if I'm not loud enough, usually I have a very good voice, please just write in the notes in the message, and then I will try to speak a little bit louder. This presentation will be recorded and we're going to send you the PowerPoint. Probably the presentation will be on the parents portal because I think it's too heavy to be sent through email. So on Sunday, it was the first day of school for your children, your KG1. So it is quite an impressive moment, especially if they've never been to school. Some of them might have been in nursery before, or they've been at home, which is totally fine. So I found this little cartoon that for some of the parents who are returning parents might know already, which is describing a little bit how your children might feel on their first day of school. A lot of stress going on in their head, even the ones who look very confident and are walking past the door without looking back. They're asking lots of questions in their head. What will the other birds think of me? And what if I don't know math? And what if the teacher asks me a question I don't know? At SISD, we try to make sure that this first day of school goes very well. And we're all about, especially with the little ones, about making them feel comfortable and safe. So, but just even if your child was really very confident and then he completely melted down at the door, this is perfectly normal. I think for us adults, when we start at a new workplace, it is also a very stressful moment. We don't know the new colleague, we don't know the people we're going to meet. So it is, at every age, it is a bit of a stress. So today we're going to speak to you about who we are, what is new at the school, how do we do safety in the early years, what is our vision, what are our goals for this year, and also the behavior policy, because it's important that you understand how we deal with behavior challenges that we might encounter, school timings, sibling childcare organization, and I'll talk a little bit about the after-school program, language in the early years, co-teaching, the IB STEAM program, and the important dates to remember. So first of all, the team, Meet the Early Years leadership team. So you've got Miss Anne-Marie, she's the PYP coordinator. We're very fortunate to have a PYP coordinator for early years. The early years have their own inspector during an inspection. So the pedagogy and the strategies that we use in learning and teaching are very important. Having a PYP coordinator is providing support for the teachers in the classroom. We also can have consistency in how we deliver the curriculum. This is very important. Miss Soné, she's the heart and soul of early years. You know, for those who have been at the school, you know her very well. She runs left and right. She's the one who has the most number of footsteps in her phone from all of us, because she's always running around somewhere. And she's also our child protection officer. Like if there is any issue or you have any concern, you can always go to her. And you have myself. I've been at the school since the beginning. I started at the SISD as a teacher in grade 5. Before that, I was a school principal in Switzerland for the public school. And I came to Dubai to follow my husband, and I never regret that decision. And I love this school. It's an amazing school, and we work in an amazing building with amazing staff. That person, you might know her name, you might know her voice over the phone, but she's very important. She's the early years assistant and secretary. One of her job scope is attendance. She takes the attendance to make sure all the children are in school, and she goes around the classroom to make sure everyone is there. So in case of if we have a fire, if we have anything, we know who was in school or not today. Communication with the parents. If your child's going to be absent, you usually call her, or you send her an email. You also send to the teachers, but then sometimes you're not sure if the teacher received it, so you can call her. Administrative tasks for the whole school. She works also for admission, and she does all kinds of things. Childcare logistic. She's helping all the CRAs who are actually in the class doing the childcare. She's preparing all the rota and all the timings and the schedule. Room booking system and appointment, like this meeting today, she's the one who booked it and prepared. And she's also in charge of lost and found. You've got the reception at the school, but also Ivory would know if something is missing, and you can always ask her. So this year we received important changes. Probably some of you have seen them in the news. On the 24th of August, we received a very important document called Together Again Dubai. The KG1, who is the authority who's running the education in Dubai. So you have the Ministry of Education in the UAE, and then each emirate has a bureau which is doing all the, how can we say, the rules and regulation, depending of what the MOE, Ministry of Education, is asking them. So in Abu Dhabi, it's ADEC. In Dubai, it's the KG1. They're also inspecting the school. They're the ones who are giving us a rating. They're inspecting us nearly every week to make sure we comply with all the safety regulation with the COVID pandemic. So this is very important. So we received some important changes. So for example, return of ASA and sport activities and swimming. So the KG1 and the KG2, that's the good news, they will have swimming. So the swimming is part of the PE program. We used to have swimming every other week before that, and it was not really working very well. So we've decided that it would be better to have blocks of 6 weeks where the children go twice during the week to the swimming pool, and then they would retain and remember the swimming skill much better. So you will be informed when your child is going to the swimming pool. Usually we try to avoid the cold months for the little ones because we know it gets very windy, even though we're in Dubai, and it's easy to catch cold. So we are trying to also have good condition. Performance, assemblies, and special events are back as well, which means we're going to be able, hopefully, to have concerts, and we're going to be able to have shows coming to the school. We have somebody coming at the beginning of October. It's a company that we've had before at the school, the SK4 company, and I think they're coming with Aladdin this year. School trips and camp can go ahead. With the little ones, we still need to ensure we have the optimum safety rules when we go out. So keeping 1 meter distance going to Dubai Mall for the aquarium is going to be quite a challenge. So we maybe later during the year, when we have a plan in place with how many people we can send with the class and everything, we will dare go out with the little ones. Safety is our priority. Buses are running at 100% capacity. Social distancing, we went from 1.5 meter to 1 meter. This is very important. So it changed also. We have not one learning group, 3 learning group in the classroom. We have 2. So this is an amazing change for the teacher and for the student themselves. So they have either one group of 2 groups of 12 or 2 groups of 13. Online provision, this is also a big change in Dubai. Starting from the 3rd of October, there will be no more distance learning for people who choose to have distance learning. They will have to request an exemption from the KHDA directly. So if you have a really concern about the pandemic, you don't want your child to be in school, you will have to apply to the KHDA to have an exemption to continue having distance learning. For sure, if unfortunately we have a case in a classroom and the whole class has to go on quarantine, we will provide distance learning. This is just for parents who choose to have distance learning. So 3rd of October, no more. And I've spoken about the groups. What will be the same? Mask must be worn at all time. The new thing is that the teachers in early years especially can have a visor where they can move down their masks, especially when they do language and when they do phonics. This is very important. But the moment they're finished, they have to put their mask back. And everybody has to walk around the school with a mask. Until 6 years old, no mask. Once they're in grade 1, they will have to wear a mask. We sanitize. We continue sanitizing like before. This is something that has worked very well. We sanitize during the day between the children. We sanitize the iPad. We sanitize the toys. Each child has his own individual set of toys. This is very important. This is a requirement from the KHDA. And for sure, we have deep sanitizing during the weekend and after school. You can still buy food from the canteen, so the canteen and the parents' cafe is open. And the pick-up and drop-off procedure are exactly the same. You just received this morning an email from our head of school, Mrs. Ruth Burke. Unfortunately, the number 46 of this protocol is about only allowing parents who are vaccinated in the school. So you've been very cooperative, all of you. So we've called all of you nearly. And you will receive today an envelope in your child's bag with the little stickers, if you're vaccinated, to put on your ID so we can access you. For the parents who are not vaccinated, we will provide a different access, and this is all in the email, and we will make sure the logistic is as smooth as if you're entering from the lobby. Unfortunately, these are the regulations, and this is what we have to do to be able to be back in school and face-to-face. Yeah, I've spoken about it. So now what I would like to speak to you is that in the early years, we're very passionate about what we do, and we thought we needed to have a vision. We had a vision, but we needed to have something that we can really work with, and that is with us every single day when we go to the classroom, and what is the purpose of what we're doing. So we created with the team the SISD Early Years Vision, which is compliant with the school vision, and we value and nurture students' happiness. This is very important, especially since the last 2 years with the COVID pandemic. We all found out that being happy and the well-being is the most important thing on our list. Learning is also important, and a happy child will learn much better. This is definitely something we could see in the classroom, and we make sure that our core values, so these are the core values of the school: bilingual, excellence, sustainability, and together, are also something that we keep in mind when we work every day. We are bilingual. This is our DNA. This is what we do best. This is why most of the parents come to our school, and we're very proud of our model. Excellence, we try to do the best we can, and I know sometimes it's not what parents might expect, but believe me, we work really hard for this, and all your teachers work really hard to prepare the beginning of the school year. We believe a happy student is a flourishing one. Definitely, we make sure that the students are happy. We provide them with fun activities, where they can really learn things that are interesting, things that are speaking to them. We are committed to providing a positive, safe, and stimulating learning environment for each child. Being safe, most of our children are safe, but you have some children where being at school is better. Because they have friends, they have somebody who cares for them. So this is very important, that they feel safe. During the last live inspection that we have in the school, the safety and the care in the early years were rated outstanding. And we're very proud of keeping those standards up. And every year we try to even make it better. We intend that all children should enjoy their learning, achieve their potential, and become independent lifelong learner. Every child learns at their own pace. We nurture them and we push them in the right direction, and they are the ones who are making all the effort. This is very important, and we cannot do it without you parents. What we do well in early years: students demonstrate strong sense of responsibility, personal responsibility. When on some units of inquiry, you will have your children coming home and say, oh, mommy, we need to help people who are hungry, or mommy, we should not eat this because it's not healthy. This is what we teach the children. They make connection and they explain to you what they're doing and they want to implement it. So please support this, because I think this is amazing. When a child comes home and say, I want to start to recycle, or I want to start cleaning dirty things around the house or things like this. This is very important. So they express ideas and they make connections. This is when a child makes a connection, it means he has integrated the learning that has been happening at school, and this is very important. They show strong appreciation for the UAE culture. Some of you are here for a couple of years and are going to move on. This is the life of many families in the UAE, but at least we hope that in the 2 years that you're with us, you will understand better the UAE culture, and you will take a little bit of it, learning about the desert, learning about the animals who lives in the desert, learning about the landmarks of the UAE, the tradition of the UAE. This is very important. I think it's part of being a global citizen when you live in a country to know everything about that country. And our children love the Burj Khalifa. They love to design it. They love to build it. I've been around the school this morning and there are already, I don't know how many Burj Khalifa who have been built. Students work well with peers. We encourage children to work together, even though with the pandemic it has been a challenge. So we still manage to get really good interaction with the children together. They show innovative skills. So it's not just what the teacher is bringing them, it's also what the children are bringing us. And sometimes the teacher is preparing an activity and the child finds another way to do the activity. This is really important that we embrace whatever the children are bringing us. Assessment is rigorous, strong and robust collaboration among the teacher. This is key to have excellence in learning and teaching. When you know where the child is at, what is his level, you can really plan to develop his potential. So the assessments are not stressful or anything. They just really there to inform the planning of the teacher and where they can start. There is no need to teach a child what he knows already. We need to start from where he's at. And this is what we call personalized learning. And teachers effectively measure progress using tracker and use this to modify their planning. So when you're going to meet the teacher in October during the Parents Teachers Conference, they will explain to you where your child is and how he has progressed already. So this is very important. Curriculum, the curriculum is in reach. We benchmark the IB curriculum on the Swiss curriculum, the German curriculum, or the Swiss German curriculum. We use the English National as well. So this is, we take and we make sure that our curriculum is at the top, and it also beneficiates from all the new amendments, of the curriculums. Modification where needed were made to enhance learning. So we also take the best. This is what we add to our curriculum. Health and safety, I've said, the students are very well looked after, and they know about eating healthy. And if you're eating, you're using the canteen to provide food for your child. All the proteins are organic, and I can see sometimes it doesn't look as good as you can imagine, but the food is really healthy, and it's really, the children are eating healthy. This is the most important thing. And support warm and caring relationship with the students and the teacher, but also with the families. We are one family at SISD. We support the families wherever we can. So sometimes, yes, we have to say no to some of the requests, but we try to accommodate everyone as much as we can. For this school year, we have set up goals for the early years. Well-being of the SISD community, focus on mindfulness and positive education. This year, we've decided to use a curriculum called Positive Education, and this is going to be implemented in all the classroom. Mindfulness as well, it's a very important. Like I said in the beginning of my presentation, well-being and mindfulness are important, but it's not just the students, it's also you, and how can we do to help? And how can we do to support you when you have questions? There's no unnecessary questions. We are every day in the lobby, except this morning because we had to run some important tasks. but we usually every morning in the lobby, you can ask us questions, you can ask us to meet with you, and we will answer all your questions. Learning and teaching, maintain consistency in our expectation. We have some new staff at the school, like every year. This is Dubai. There is always a turnover. We try to keep this turnover as low as possible. But after 5 or 6 years of opening a school, you have people who want to go home. They want to go back to their home country. So we find new staff. And this is also good because you see different way of teaching, and we have to ensure that there's consistency. So we bring the SISD model to this new teacher. They have a 2 weeks induction prior to school start, and we work on how we want the learning and the teaching to be in the classroom. Student attainment and progress. Our progress across the grade level is outstanding. Last year, the attainment is always something we have to focus on because attainment is a bit different, and it was very good in most of the subject last year. So we want to keep on doing this, and why not reach the star? Develop learning space. Because of the restriction, we realized that it's very important to have the outdoor and to use outside of the classroom for learning opportunities, because sometimes you can have only one child or two children having an activity. So we really enhance the outdoor of the classroom, and the outdoor, when as soon as the temperature goes down, the children are going to go and explore the mud garden, the organic garden, and we want to make sure that this is happening. So this is all for me. I will hand it over now to Ms. Sonet. Thank you.
Good morning. We would love to welcome you in the auditorium, as Ms. Amina said, but here we are. We are not allowed to. But nonetheless, welcome this morning to all our KG1 parents. We hope you had a good start to the week, though. So today I'm just going to speak about registration and things at SISD. But before I go on there, I just want to let you know that if you ever have any child protection or pastoral concerns, you're more than welcome to get in contact with me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything that you have. So please, if there's anything, I usually get concerns from the teachers if there's something coming up, and I also get from parents. So please feel free to get in touch with me anytime that you feel you have a concern or a question. So today we're going to look at registration and late arrivals. We take registration every morning. The teachers take registration in the classroom as the children arrive to school. This is just for safety's sake, so that we know how many students are in the school and who's absent. In case there is a fire or something, we need to get out of the building. We know exactly this is the amount of students who are in the school, and these ones are not here. So we do ask that when you arrive to school, that please arrive on time. It's really important, and not just for registration, but also that the lessons start on time. I know KG1 will start a little bit later with the staggered timings, but please make sure that your child is in the classroom, because the teacher covers quite a lot of information and reading and writing, and they have special time with the students in the morning early. If you do arrive late, sometimes it happens that the traffic there's an accident on the road. You can just report to reception, and the receptionist will call the classroom, and the teachers will fetch your child from the reception. If you would like to pick up your child earlier than normal timings, please arrange that with the classroom teachers. You're more than welcome to do that, though. Just inform them with a short email saying that I have a doctor's appointment or whatever, and I need to pick up my child early today at lunchtime. It's just good so that the teachers can have everything ready for your child, packed, and the bags, so that it's easier when you pick him or her up. Also, you've seen your child has an ID card. Our ID cards are very important. We check them constantly just because we don't know the children at the moment, so we kind of use them to see what the names are. So please, your child has to come to school with the ID card every day. We do take the ID badges off in the classroom because it is a bit heavy and a bit in the way. So some of the children bags and other teachers prefer to put it in little baskets in the classroom, but it will go home in the afternoon as well with your child. Also, parents, your lanyards are very important as well. You have to wear them when you are coming to school. It is just a safety measurement so that we know that you are a parent or a driver or nanny, and these are the people that are allowed in this on the school premises. So please wear them when you are at school. We also have, with the students, we do fire drills and lockdown. We've had one last week with the staff, so the staff will now inform the children what the procedures are if that happens, if they hear the bell go, and they know exactly where to exit from. And we also have a lockdown procedure. I always say the children love that very much because it's a lovely little song that play. And I think they just like the whole procedure of it. But yes, we do train the children to be safe. They know what to do, and the staff know exactly what to do with the students and where to take them if something will happen. Planned absences. If you are planning, if you know you have a family emergency or you have to travel for a business or whatever reason, please inform us in advance. If you know the specific time or period you will be gone, you have to send an email to Miss Amina and also inform the classroom teachers so that they are aware that you will be traveling from this time to that time. And maybe if the classroom teacher want to give some extra reading or writing, whatever they want to give to your child, then we know we can prepare that in advance and we can give it out in that time. So please just inform us if you are planning to travel or if there's a family. I know family emergencies happen quite quickly, but if you know you are traveling a specific time, just inform us. You have all received permission to release and emergency contact forms. Please make sure if you have not done so that you complete these forms. It's very important that the classroom teacher has to get it. I know some parents have emailed me already some of the forms and I have forwarded to the classroom teachers, but please make sure that the teacher has it. If you have not done it, please get it to the classroom teacher as soon as possible. Then we get to birthdays. We know the birthdays are not what it used to be, but we do celebrate them still. We make it very special for the children. We sing songs and we have crowns and we have special day for them. So we do try making it really special. We are not allowed to bring food in from the outside. So no cakes, no party bags, nothing can come in. But if you really want to have the children have a birthday, you are more than welcome to go to the parent cafe. And you can order some healthy muffins, or there's some popcorn and juice as well that you can pay extra for, and that will be delivered to the classroom on the day of your child's birthday. So please feel free to speak to the staff in the parent cafe, and they will be able to support you well with that. Then we get to behavior. We have our behavior policy. It's on the website in the parent handbook. You can have a read through that. Just going to quickly tell you about it. We encourage behavior at SISD. All our adults model this behavior, and we also use our IB profiles. So if you hear your children come home and they speak about, oh, I was principal today, or I was caring, that's a lovely thing to hear. So the children will be exposed to all these words, and they will start using them. We've also purchased the Positive Education Enhanced curriculum for the whole of early years that we will be focusing on this year. And all the teachers have, it's a set curriculum and it's lovely. It's got lots of different ideas for the teachers that they can use for mindfulness even, or brain breaks if they have to do that. So it's all in one, and we are very excited to be using that this year with the students. But if you have any questions, please do and ask. You can ask me or just ask me in the lobby in the mornings. Our school timing, so from today, our KG1s and KG2 students have a full day. So please make note of the start times. We give you a window where you can arrive. So KG2 students can start to arrive from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. and our KG1 students from 7:45 to 8:15. And then, of course, our little pre-Ks who's still doing their staggered timings this week will only start from next week, arrive from 8 to 8:30. And then, of course, our dismissal time is at 2:20 p.m. We do sometimes open the doors a little earlier if we see there are quite a lot of parents in the lobby. We don't want you to stand in the heat, so we will open the doors earlier if need be. But we do ask you to please be patient until we open the doors. If you have an emergency, like I said before, and you need to leave early, please inform us in advance so we have your child ready. Then we are also looking for room parents this year again. Our lovely room parents from last year were amazing. They did such a good job by supporting the classroom teachers and our leadership team. We really appreciate them a lot. So basically a room parent will communicate between the parents and the teachers and also the parent forum committee. So if you will have a few responsibilities, usually it is just to give information to parents. We have WhatsApp groups that the room parent will set up. We do, however, ask that the WhatsApp groups are used for positive communication only. If you have any questions or you have concerns about the classroom teachers or the school or our leadership team, please do rather come to us and speak to us directly. We are always happy to help you. We have an open door policy, so we are anytime available if you would like to speak to us. So please keep the WhatsApp groups on a positive note. And then if you would like to become a room parent, please email your classroom teacher with a short description of why you would like to do it and why you think you would be good at it. And then the classroom teacher will be the one making the decision who will be the room parent. So we will send you all the information. Otherwise, you can read up on it in the parent handbook on the website. It is as well. And Ms. Amina from Siblings.
Okay, so for those who are new to the school, we offer at the moment Sibling Childcare, which means for the parents who have children in different sections like early years, primary and secondary, we provide you the possibility to keep the earliest children until 3:30, until the older siblings are finishing. At the moment, this is all we can offer. We're gonna really see how many students we have and everything, and we will see if we can offer, because I know some of you, their older siblings will have maybe AS after school activities, so they might be able, we might offer the possibility to stay longer, but at the moment we cannot. So Sibling Childcare finish at 4 o'clock. It's from at 3:30, sorry, time is from 2:30 to 3:30. Then when you come to the school to collect your children, you first come to us, you scan your QR code in the lobby, and then we bring you the earliest child, and then you can go and collect your other children. It's easier this way. The transition, we take the children, you don't have to be here, we do everything, so you just have to come at 3:30. Siblings Childcare is an ASA. Why? Because you have to register for it. If you haven't registered, please contact Miss Ivory Padua and we will see if we can accommodate, because at the beginning of the school year, we will try to also to regroup the children who are in sibling childcare. So it's one learning group going together to avoid cross-contamination. We request that you collect on time. This is very important. Thank you for this. And childcare is not an ASA because you don't have a quota for 1 or 2 a week. You can have a sibling childcare every single day. What happens when a parent is late? So when a parent is late and is not registered in childcare or sibling childcare, we will not take the child to childcare. The child will stay with the teacher. And sometimes, you know, the teacher has to go to meetings and everything. So we understand that sometimes you have emergency, then you can reach us and tell us, but please be on time. This is very important. No electronic device allowed. no phones, tablets, and everything. We have activities. If you can provide an extra snack for the time when they are in the sibling childcare, this would be nice. We are currently working with Mr. Robert Duncan, the head of sport, to provide an internal essay for the younger children, but we have to see if in terms of respecting the safety measures of the KG, it's possible, and how we're gonna, the logistic of it, and make sure that we're not putting anyone in danger and having, you know, like, for example, cross-contamination. This is very important for us. So we hope that we can get in touch with you very soon, before the end of September, and give some good news about this. Now I give it over to Ms.
Good morning, parents. It's a shame that there is no one here with me today. Although I am new to this particular role, I am not new to Swiss. I have been working in the Department of Early Years since 2015 when the school opened, and I've been delighted to watch the evolution of our amazing co-teaching program over the years. And I'm absolutely delighted to take this role this year. So as we're a KG1 meeting today, I'll be talking specifically about academics and language for KG1. So on this slide here, I just give a little bit of an introduction into your class for KG1. So in the bilingual program, children have one English speaking teacher and then either a French or German teacher, depending on your selection this year. There is also a CRA, and all three adults in the room are co-responsible for the learning of the languages. Our IB STEAM program has one teacher, and they also have a French or German teaching assistant in the room as well, and both are supported by a CRA, a classroom assistant. The STEAM program has 3 French additional languages or 3 German additional languages, depending on the option that you have picked. And in KG1, all of both bilingual and STEAM programs have 2 Arabic lessons per week as well, where children are exposed in a very fun and light way to Arabic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the co-teaching model. How it works is we have the 2 teachers in the room, and both are responsible for co-planning and assessing all of the learning and teaching. They plan regularly together and update each other on observations, assessments, and things like that as they go along, and adjust accordingly. There is an equal amount of either French, German language and English language lessons that are set across the week, and we looked for balance across the week period. So on a particular day, your child might have a lot of specialist subjects, perhaps like Arabic. They might have a session of PE, they might be going to library. So we allow the teachers to make sure that the balance is managed across a week period. Also this year, we are now back to 2 learning bubbles or 2 learning groups, which we're delighted with. It makes the class look a little bit more friendly, more cooperative. And teachers this year will be alternating in between each of the bubbles of the class. And all of the contents of the languages is exposed in our units, which is our science and social studies, the arts, which is our performing arts like music and drama, and of course in math and science as well. So I just wanted to have a little note about expectations at SISD, because this is a question that comes up an awful lot to teachers, because as parents, you are always concerned about where your child is academically and how they're developing. So the first point I'd like to make is that all learning in SISD in the early years is personalised. Our teachers are work on a schedule of observing, recording, assessing, teaching, readjusting, reteaching things if needed. It's an ongoing cycle, and the month of September is very much all about getting to know your child with their strengths, things that they need to work on, and their language background. As it's an ongoing cycle basis, it's very important to remember that all of our learning groups are fluid. For example, you might have a child who is very good at their addition and their mental computations, but at the same time, they might not be so strong perhaps when it comes to problem solving with shapes. And that is something that the teacher will find out and learn. So the groups across math, for example, are not always set in stone. They're very fluid. And teachers use their constant observation and their assessing to readjust the groups to ensure that your child is learning what they should be learning and not something they already know. It's also really important to remember that progress is individual and all children come from a very different background with the very different skill sets. No two children are the same and they cannot be compared. So progress is really all about where your child is today and where we're going to take them tomorrow. Of course, if you have any concerns at any point in the year academically or otherwise about your child, the first point of contact I would advise you to go towards is, of course, your class teachers. And then after that, you can always contact me if you are concerned also. I'll just speak a little bit about bilingualism here and how it works at our school. So the very first example up here on the board is in red is that bilingualism is the regular use of 2 different languages or dialects in daily life. And I think this is a very, very good definition of bilingualism. What we have to remember, though, is that a bilingual person is not 2 monolingual people existing in one person. That although, yes, we have 2 very different language systems with their own rules, both of these language systems are coming together and they're very much interdependent on each other, and how well they are in one influences how they can develop the other. At the moment, in, I suppose, the academic circles, when we talk about language learning, there's this new definition that's kind of coming up a lot, and it's called translanguaging. And now, as I've watched the program develop over the last few years, especially making observation of children who have not perhaps had much exposure to a second language, the most comfortable and the most open the children were was when they were immersed in a situation where they were encouraged to listen and to use both of the languages. And this is exactly what translanguaging is. The second definition on top, use all your language resources to communicate, captures translanguaging very well. So for example, in my classrooms over the years, these would be some examples of what translanguaging looks like. If I ask a question in English and a child responds to me in French, when we read a story, perhaps it's Boucle d'Or and it was to a whole group of children who are native English speakers, and they are hanging on every single word because they already know the story. They know it as the 3 bears in English, but they are able to use their knowledge of the story, the pictures, in order to create an understanding, and they're open and ready for language, the French language. I also see translanguaging in writing a lot too. So sometimes during the year, French phonics will start to appear in English writing. Perhaps it's in the form of the I. I in French, as we all know, is an E sound, but E in English is 2 E's together. And often parents get very concerned when they see that happening, and they're worried that their children are not learning the languages correctly. But this is just an example of the child showing their readiness for language learning, and it's a perfect example of translanguaging. So how we work this through in the classroom is that there are set language lessons to help develop the skills of that language. So for example, in my previous example that I just said there about the phonics, the teacher makes an observation that the child is starting to confuse some of the French sounds, and the teacher can set lessons into which we can start to show and teach the child, here are some of the English sounds that you now need. All of the disciplines are taught in both languages. So for example, our unit subjects, which is science and social studies, math, the library and arts, there's a balance of language across both languages across all of the disciplines to allow children access and develop and practice their new skills. This year as well, the teachers have a new focus, which is our universal key indicators. And this is another way that we can promote this idea of translanguaging. There are many common things about learning a language. There are many things that are common between French, German, English, Arabic, all of the languages. And we're going to be focusing on these particular skills this year. Running parallel to that, of course, is your standardized English phonics, French phonics systems as well. So we'll be mixing the 2 together. When we talk about language acquisition, there are 2 kind of very key points to remember. Parents are always wondering and asking, will they be bilingual by the end of the year? And sadly, it does take a lot longer than that. So there are 2 ways of describing language acquisition, and the first one here is our basic interpersonal communication skills, or something we call BICS. And BICS is the social language. This is their day-to-day, this is their needs. For example, it's the language that children are probably using and picking up in the playground, or amongst their friends on play dates, sitting with their friends at lunch, or when they're perhaps building a Burj Khalifa tower with their friends. The scenarios here are all very undemanding of the child, and they're very much open and ready to learn and ready to use the language, sometimes without even realizing that they're using it. This is why, of course, play is so important in early years, because it is a way of us getting into the children and helping them with their language in a very undemanding setting. The other side of this, of course, then as we come into kind of later early years and starting to look at primary, is where we start to layer their BICS with what we call the cognitive academic language proficiency, their CALP. This one takes a lot longer to develop. When we think about CALP, we're thinking of academic language. It's generally very abstract, it's specialized, it's in a context. But it goes also hand in hand with skills. So on top of their day-to-day needs, they are now applying language with the use of skills such as comparing, classifying, evaluating, which kind of is another level again to language learning. When we look at the phases of language acquisition, in the early years, we're very much dependent at the moment on pre-production, early production, and speech emergence. The pre-production phase is described here as being a silent period. This is where the child is listening and recording, and it is a very important phase. And in here, it's very important to be mindful of giving the child the time and the space and as much of a positive experience and a positive environment around language learning. As we come into early production, then we think that there's about 1,000 words the child has picked up or recognizes, and they might be starting to give you 1 or 2 word phrases, maybe even in response to a question. And then speech emergence is where they probably understand roughly about 3,000 words, and they're starting to put together some simple sentences. After that, we come into intermediate fluency and then advanced fluency also. Like I said, each child is a different entity, its own special entity, and it's important to remember that other things come into consideration, such as their confidence, their personality, when it comes to learning languages. And it's our job here to get to know your child as best as we can in order to support them on their journey. We'll talk a little bit about IB STEAM. So the IB STEAM, as we go forward this year, is going to be developed a little bit more. We have this particular slide here is just for KG1. So the program for IB STEAM this year in term 1, they're going to be looking at engineering and art aspects. They'll be exploring how people use the design cycle to explore, test ideas and find solutions. This will run parallel to the current program of inquiry, so that children are still acquiring the same knowledge across the whole grade, but there will be more of a focus for the children of STEAM on these particular lines of inquiry. The design cycle, meaningful questions and predictions, gathering and evaluating information, and designing solutions. As we come into term 2, we are going to be looking at a new unit. This unit is one that is focused on science, math and technology, and it's going to be about forces. So we're going to be looking at push and pulls can have different forces, different strengths and forces. And then we're going to revisit again for the final unit of the year, engineering in the form of science and art, once more to see how the skills are developed over the year. Now I'm coming on to some important dates. So there's a few here on the board that we'll talk you through. On September the 5th, we're going to be having a KG1 teacher information session. This will be with you and your parent and your class teacher of your child. It's going to be now at 4 to 5 in the afternoon. On the 6th of September, there will be the pre-K one, and then on the 3rd and 4th of October, we're delighted to say that right here in the auditorium, we're going to be able to have Aladdin, a show, come to us. It's the first one we've had in quite a while, so everybody's quite excited about that, and there'll be more information to come soon. Later in the month and into October, I'll be hoping to run some very specific sessions, one about PYP in the early years, for anyone who's new to it and would like a little bit more information. We're also going to look at supporting reading at home and emerging writing as well, and how we can support that and how it works, especially when we think about our special nature here is, of course, our bilingual program and how we can blend the two languages and support both. Right now, I'm going to hand you back to Amina for sign off today. And if you have any questions, you can contact me on my email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. We received 2 questions, which I think is worth that we share, because obviously we communicate a lot at SISD, especially at the beginning of the year, but some communication doesn't really reach all the parents. We've realized that maybe some of the messages got lost in the system, unfortunately. So first, yes, we have an app called CISO that the teachers are using. It's a digital portfolio. And it's why we're using CISO, because CISO, it's an easy access for the students once they're bigger, they can also decide what they want to put. It's an easy way for you to see how your child is progressing with pictures, with comment from the teacher, and you can also comment on it. So at the moment, because we have rules about CISO, CISO doesn't have a lot of posts yet. As soon as you're going to receive a QR code from the teacher, then you know that this QR code can be used by the family to watch what your child is doing, what kind of activity. But remember, it's a digital portfolio, so we put activities where the child has progressed or has learned something. The second thing is the after-school activity. So last year there was no after-school activity for early years at all, because the logistic of the safety and sanitary measures were quite difficult. Mr. Rob Duncan has met with us last week, and he said there will be after-school activity, but you will get informed. We might not start at the same time as primary. We need to see. So there might be one internal after-school activity for the students, which means this is a free activities, and we will have to make it on the same day for everyone. We cannot have different days. It's too complicated to organize, and we don't have enough staff for that. And then you will have the external activities. Mr. Rob will send you a message, or maybe has sent it to you already. Please check on your ASAMs, and I will make sure to check with him when he's going to send the information and send a reminder. We used to have baby tennis, we used to have karate, we used to have all kinds of activities, and there used to be swimming for pre-K, which we also had, so with Speedo. So I think look at the information in your mailbox, and if not, we'll make sure to resend it to all of you, but maybe it has not been sent yet. So just as some information. So we're trying, we're improving everything. So please bear with us, because the logistic behind the pickup and the drop off and make sure the children are respecting social distancing and everything is very important. And we need to make sure we can deliver a very high quality program. I don't know if there was more answer or questions. Anyway, if you remember anything, drop us an email. We will by the end of the week, we will send you the presentation, and we will give you the recording of this meeting. Thank you very much for attending. It's so sad I cannot see you. I really value the relationship we can build when we meet each other, but you're going to see me in the lobby, so don't hesitate to come to us and introduce yourself to us. Thank you very much for attending today.